our attitude is that, it's from New Zealand. It's got to be good, clean, green, and all this sort of shit. And I'm going, I've come from bad soils, and I've seen what it's like, and I've seen how good you can make it when you actually get it right. And the opportunity, and what I saw is like, how did a farmer in Waihi get to supply the top restaurants in the country and have week in, week out, same product in there all the time? Didn't have to, I did not get complaints from these guys. You turn up and they, how are you? It was, whoa. And, like this exercise that we went through with the Sugar Club, we went through another exercise with that after, and I'll talk about that in another chapter, just showing how when they get good product with the people identify it, they want it and they will pay for it. And it's very poorly marketed because we don't have a consistency. Like if it's New Zealand lamb, you go, with this, that, and the other thing. And I mean, there's people that have done a whole lot of work on this, and like where they accept that ram lambs are all right. And I'm going, ram lambs are all right up till Christmas. Like if you haven't, but after Christmas, if they get a little bit active, you don't want that as a lamb product. And worst of all, if you put them on brassicas, they go even worse. So if you got ram lambs that are 8 months old, they're classified as lambs, and especially if they're getting sexually active, they're foul. You don't want to, and you're marketing this as prime New Zealand lamb and going, get a life, get out of here. So you're not marketing it at all. You're just sending it into a commodity market and they just pay whatever. And I genuinely haven't seen any real attempt to market our products as an absolute premium, which they keep telling us as farmers it is, and I just, whatever, But in saying that, as I've travelled the world and looked at different things, some things come about. There's the ducks that they stuff bloody food down hand over fist to make them fat. To make the livers, and there's certain, the hams and that. There's some old practices that people have found, and there is a market, and they sell it for a premium price, and people are willing to pay for it. And I use the likes of crayfish as a perfect example. There's no quota on crayfish over there to purchase. It's only quota on how much we can produce here, right? Because they can't buy enough. And that's based on the Chinese want that product. Give me that product. Give it to me now. Now, if you produce products like that, well, that's what happens. You produce a product they're willing to pay for, and they'll just keep buying it. Now, what we have in supposed marketing, it's a joke, because they don't even know where the product comes from or how it was produced or anything else. It's in a box, it's all good.
Yeah, it loses all the elements of unique selling points.
Totally. So our whole systemised process of what was going on was diabolical. And the more I researched into it and the more I actually researched what was going on the farm and all this, it just didn't equate out there in the big fat wide world that anybody else could actually see. Well, whatever we did on the farm was what we got at the other end.
Yeah.
And that was exactly why I went to the meat board to start with, to actually, can I get some funding to do this? So I ended up funding it myself. And doing all the work.
Before we get to that, just you mentioned with lamb as the example that if they start to get sexually active, they're no good as meat. What does that difference in taste like? Like, are you able to tell if you have a serving of lamb at that age?
You can smell it. Yeah. You can taste it. It becomes bitter. And, there's so many things. Like I can, if we get lamb now, like the last lambs that we produced on the farm was like that. There was these fluffy meatballs, and their meat was pink, just like salmon. And so in a way, we'd actually produced a
land salmon.
Yeah, that's right. And it was like the salt marsh lamb. It was, the flavour and the tenderness. It was just stunning. And so that's totally achievable in a high-performance, low-cost system of actually producing something that's way better than what, that we're doing traditionally. And you've actually lowered your costs, increased your profit margin, increased your production, and you then, if you put the time in, you have somebody at the other end that really wants it.
How does it work for farmers that are selling sheep for food? How does it work in terms of when they go off to get processed? Are they just purchased on a number basis, or are they purchased on a quality basis?
Cents per kilo. They go through a quality sort of thing that is better than it was before about confirmation, the amount of meat on the animal, and everything. But and they have some scientific processes they say about eating quality, but they're nowhere near what is needed. You know, like if you go in the wine industry, you know, like they have tastings. They have competitions.
Yeah.
They have all of the shit.
Yeah.
Okay, and a good bottle of wine's worth 3 times the price of a bad bottle of wine.
Well, this is actually what I'm getting at, because, and the reason I ask how are they sold is we're talking about a really important topic of improving the outcome of the quality of the meat and the food taste and the experience. But if they're just sold based on per kilogram, is there any incentive to care?
No.
But there would have been, that sort of floors me a bit. But of course, there would have been when you own your own butchery.
Oh, look, it's only
as per your, the chapter. But I guess for the average farmer, does it matter?
Well, that's the
because
problem.
It should, right?
It should, because what has to happen
like
is
you should care that you're producing something that tastes amazing compared to what you did last year, and you're constantly striving for a better outcome.
Absolutely. And what I saw through this process is that for you to create a market, you had to create a product to take to market first. So what they were trying to do, or Meat Lamb were trying to do, was do it back to front. They were going, we're going to market this, but I'm going, what are you marketing? You know, and there was one particular trial I saw which was totally bonkers.
They're basically marketing just made in New Zealand, really, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
average sheep made in New Zealand, average whatever.
Well, one of the meat companies down the South Island was doing a trial to see whether ram lambs were acceptable to the market. And the ram lambs came off a farm that we were actually working on, and they were before Christmas, and I could say they'll be absolutely stunning. It'll go up there and they'll go, wow, man, you just keep producing that, we'll be just fine.
Yeah, and to the overseas listener, that means they were before the height of our summer.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. So they were early season lambs, so the ram lambs hadn't become sexually active.
Yeah.
They're probably not long off mum, and they were just absolutely beautiful, right?
Right, spot on.
So, in my experience in the meat process, that's fine. I mean, why, like as far as I was concerned, the last lot of lambs and that I used to do is if I knew I could kill them before Christmas, I left their tails and their nuts on. What was the point of disrupting their growth and their healthiness? Like they were just beautiful anyway.
Yeah, sure, good point.
Yeah, so bang. So, and if they were going to make after that, I'd put a ring on them and do what we had to so we could actually, animal welfare and all this other stuff. So, that was crazy. Like they did this trial saying, okay, so all ram lambs are now suitable for this market. And I'm going, oh my God.
No.
Oh no.
Not after a certain time.
Yeah, and not after a certain behaviour and all that sort of thing. And so there was no investigation to farming techniques, quality process and all that sort of thing. And on it goes. And we've seen this. The meat operations in this country are being systematically destroyed.